Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about one of my favorite topics and probably my most favorite thing that I do in homeschool, that I myself do. And we are going to talk about my family's favorite read-alouds. Now, a little bit about reading out loud to your children. I started this very, very young, of course with the board books and the little lift and see flap books and that sort of thing. But by the time that my kids were about 5 or 6, I would say, they were listening to chapter books, especially my youngest with the older siblings. And you might think that your young kids are unable to pay attention to chapter books, but that is completely false. I have found if you give them something to do with their hands, they can listen very well. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that they've loved it every single time. In fact, I still have one that complains almost every time I read out loud to them. And I think, are they really retaining this information? And then they will like laugh at a part in the book, or they will like ask a question or something. And so they are actually engaged even if the body language or the attitude is saying no, they are actually listening. So before I get to our very favorites, I just wanted to show you a couple of things that I let my kids do while we read out loud. Of course, they can always color or draw. My kids love the pop things still, so like these little fidget popper things. They haven't done the fidget spinners in a while, but like this is a really good one I got from Amazon and it spins really well. So I like this one. If it gets left out, I will play with it. Of course, I've shown these before, but Canoodle. These are very quiet and they're like a logic type thing. So nothing that they have to, I don't give them anything that they have to like I would never give them a crossword puzzle where they have to like think about it and it takes them out of the story that I'm reading to them. So word searches I do feel like are fine. One of my daughters really enjoys the word searches, and so you're not like reading something, it's just a word you have to find. And then I just picked this up from Sam's Club. All of my kids have really loved the paint by sticker books, so they can do that while I read. And then I tried this out for the first time and my oldest daughter really loves, I'm trying to see if I can find one that's already done, really loves the like adult, I keep wanting to call this a word search, dot to dot is what this is. So just something to keep their fingers occupied so that they can pay attention better. When they were younger, it was Legos they could do, craft, any sort of thing like that. Okay, these are in no particular order, but these are our very, very favorite read-alouds that we've ever read. Some of them are from my childhood. My mom read them to us, and that is this very first one called My Side of the Mountain. My mom read this to us when we were little, and I distinctly remember it kind of similar to like a Hatchet type story. But a boy leaves home and he goes off to live in the woods, and he makes himself a home like in a huge stump of a tree, and he has a falcon that he has trained, and he grinds up acorns for flour, and just it's a very engaging story, especially if you have boys. My girls really liked it too, but this is probably Jericho's favorite out of all of them. Next is a classic, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Now, I have read them all of the Chronicles of Narnia series, but in my opinion, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the best. And you can actually start with this one. You don't have to start with The Magician's Nephew. They're all tied together, but this to me is the most engaging, so I would start with this one. But again, my mom read this to us when I was probably 8, and I remembered the story vividly. So that is a favorite. Currently, I read this one as a kid, and I hadn't ever read it out loud. I think we started it and didn't finish it for some reason. But we are currently reading The Borrowers this summer, and then I have all of the rest of the Borrowers, and I don't even know if I have read every single one of these. I cannot remember. Next is A Wrinkle and Thyme. Really loved these, and I actually want to get all of the rest of them in this series because I think I've read A Swiftly Tilting Planet. I don't think I've read any of the others. So when I get off of filming this video, I'm going to go to Thrift Books and see if I can find the rest of these, because even though this is kind of, I wouldn't call it a strange book, but it's definitely sci-fi, and that's not really a genre that many of us necessarily care for. This book is fascinating, and again, one that my mom read to me when I was younger, and all of my kids loved this. Side note, they hated the movie because it did not follow the book at all. So they think the movie is total trash. So just a little disclaimer. This wouldn't be a favorite read aloud video if I did not share Laura Ingalls Wilder. Of course, I have read them, the entire series. They're just such a quick read. They're an easy read. But out of the entire series, Little House in the Big Woods, and then Farmer Boy. And we probably read Farmer Boy once a year, probably. We just, all of us love it. Even my mom will. A theme here. Has my mom read? I think my mom has read all of these books to me when I was little, except for one, because it's new. When my mom comes over, like if we have, like, we're waiting or something and she needs a book to read, she's like, kids, go get me Farmer Boy, and she'll just sit and read it. So very, very good. It's a great one to read out loud. Very engaging. We just finished James and the Giant Peach. Again, I had already read this, and then it was fun to watch the movie. My kids really like to watch movies, if there are movies. So we also did the couple of Chronicles of Narnia movies that there are. We watched those as soon as we were done with the book. And they like to critique it. They like to see what's the same, what's different. But James and the Giant Peach is just a classic, and it's a favorite. The last one is A Place to Hang the Moon, and I had seen this reviewed in different places, and it's a fairly new book, so there was not a paperback, and I want to say this book was $17 or $18, which is, like, I never pay that much for books. Like, we go to the library a lot and stuff, but this book had such good reviews, and so I decided this one was going to be the one that we read over Christmas break. My oldest daughter doesn't get to join in as often. She gets to do it over breaks, and then she gets to do it over the summer, like sit and listen with us. So that makes me kind of sad, but she's gone to the public school for her elective so much that we just cannot squeeze that in, and it makes me sad. But we do what we can. I read this past Christmas, over Christmas break, to the kids, and this book is, it's so good. I can't even, it is 3 young children who get sent, it's like during World War II, they get sent to whatever program that was, I can't remember, where the children of London were sent to the countryside and families took them in while the bombings were happening. And so they're without a guardian because their grandmother dies, and they don't want to tell anybody that because they don't know what's going to happen, but they have like a, what's it called? Inheritance type thing. And so they just have a really rough time of it, and in the end they find like their forever guardian person, and I was like bawling. This is such a good book. So highly recommend this one. And I actually, again, I'm gonna go see if she has any other books on Thrift Books when I'm done here, because it was so good. So if reading out loud is not something you have incorporated into your homeschool, I would highly recommend it. We typically do it like during the hottest part of the day in the summer, where we're kind of hunkered inside in the air conditioning, and then we do it right after lunch in the winter, and I think that started because I started reading out loud to the kids that were not napping, like during nap time when it needed to be quiet. So this is kind of like our quiet rest and relaxation part of the day. I read out loud to them, and it has only been so good. Your kids will comprehend more, their vocabulary will be better, and it's different than them reading it themselves. Like when they're hearing it, it just does something different for them. So I would highly encourage you to add that to your homeschool. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will try to link books. I will for sure have the titles listed out and the authors down in the description, but I will try to link some if I can find some, maybe on thrift books or something. But hope you enjoyed today's video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!